right, Hive, good morning. Today we're going to talk a little bit about equivalent fractions. And most important is understanding that equivalent fractions really just means equal fractions. Two fractions that name the same thing. Okay, and so today you watched a little video that showed you how to find 3 equivalent fractions to 1/3 or 2 equivalent fractions to 1/3. Most important for me is that you know that you have your own set of fraction tiles that are available to you that I've assigned. But I want you to know more than anything is for you to get a piece of white paper. I don't care if it's lined paper or white paper. I'm using computer paper here. And that you have a pencil, a marker, whatever it is you want to use. Pencil is probably better because you can erase. You can see I've got my coffee cup here. I've got the dot camera that's not working. And I'm just going to use a pen today, okay? And I want you to learn, more importantly, how to draw your own fractions no matter where you are, what you're doing, or what fraction they ask you to name and to find an equivalent for. So no matter what, they showed you in that video 1 whole, and they always compared it to 1 whole. So we can always draw 1 whole as long as we're using what I call a tape diagram or a tape bar. So I'm going to start, and it's not perfect, but I'm going to always do a rectangle. And it's never going to be perfect because I'm holding the camera with one hand and I'm drawing with the other. So there's my rectangle, and yours could look the same. It could be bigger, smaller, but I'm going to name this 1 whole, which is 1 out of 1 piece. Okay, it's just 1 whole. And you can see there's my paper. I have plenty of space left. Okay, I could have made it bigger. It's okay. Now I'm going to draw another one that looks pretty much the same. It will not be perfect, but again, nothing Miss B ever does is. Okay, so now again, this is another 1 whole. Would you agree? 1 whole. But I'm going to do something different to it, and I'm going to cut it right down the middle. How many pieces do I have now? I have 1 piece, 2 pieces. So I've taken the whole and I've cut it into 2 parts or pieces. This is 1 out of 2, and this is 1 out of 2. The whole thing is still 1, but we call the whole thing 2 out of 2. I like to draw a 1 around it to remind myself that that's still the magic 1. But if I shaded this, that would be 1/2. If I shaded this by itself, that would be 1/2. Okay, let's draw another 1 whole. All right, this time, I think this time I'm going to try thirds. Now, thirds aren't as easy to draw because you can't cut 3 in half. There is no half line. So I kind of have to wing it and figure out where I think 3 equal parts are. I think that's about right. Took a kind of good guess. I have 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts, and they look pretty equal to me. So this is 1 out of 3, 1 out of 3, and this is still 1 out of 3, okay? And anytime you have a 1 on top, we call that a unit fraction, okay? So this is a unit fraction, this is a unit fraction, this is a unit fraction. If I put them all together, if I say 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3, then I get the whole together again, and it becomes the 3/3 or that magic 1. I want you to know how to draw these because when they ask you for equivalent fractions, it's a little harder when you don't have tiles. We're going to draw another one. And hopefully you then pause your video and draw your own. This time I think we should draw fourths. We should cut this into 4 pieces. Well, 4 is easy to cut in half. Half of 4 is, you're right, 2. So I'm going to cut this in half. I now have 2 pieces, and I'm going to cut each of those in half again. because 2 times 2 is 4. All right, so you can hear that relationship between multiplication and division going on here. Now I know I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. So this is 1 out of 4, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 4. Let's take it a little farther and let's do one that's a little bit bigger. Let's go with, I guess let's try eighths. Again, not my perfect rectangle. I know that half of 8 is 4, so I know I can still cut it in half, right? There's half, and I can do 4 over here and 4 over here to make eighths, right? So I'm going to cut it in half again, and I know right now I have fourths. Well, to make fourths turn into eighths, I'm going to cut each one of those sections into halves. I'm going to cut those into 2 pieces to make eighths. So I'm going to go 1, 2. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I need these 2 to be cut in half. And now I know that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I do have 8 equal pieces. 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, 1/8. Now, if they were to ask me 1/4, can you give me an equivalent fraction to 1/4? Well, I can see right here, here is my 1/4. Can I see anything else? Is 1/3 equivalent to 1/4? No, it's bigger. What about 1/2? No, it's way bigger. But let's look underneath it. How many 1/8 pieces fit underneath there? Well, it looks like, if I matched them up, it looks like I could fit 1, 2. It looks like I could fit 2/8. Now, can you see a relationship there? Did I do something to the top and the bottom? That's right. 1 times 2 is 2, and 4 times 2 is 8. So let's imagine if I was to draw another one, if I was to draw another tape model, 1/4. What if I was to do times 3/3? What might I get? 1 times 3 is 3, and 4 times 3 is 12. So if I was to come down here and draw 12 models, well, amazingly, you guys are going to be able to do this. Let's try it. Oh, I didn't really line that up very good. Oh, okay. Should have been a little more precise. I'm going to come up here a little bit while you guys can watch. I want them to kind of line up where the 0 is. Okay, so I'm going to try to draw 12ths here, but I already kind of messed up. So here's my half. And then I need 6 on each side because half of 12 is 6. So then I know I need to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to do the same over here. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. But I cut that in half. So I'm going to cut this in half. And I'm going to cut that in half. Not very straight. Cut it in half, cut it in half, cut it in half. So let's see if I got 12 there. Kind of shoddy, but let's look. All right, we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so I'm going to label this 1 out of 12, 1 out of 12, 1 out of 12, 1 out of 12, and 1 out of 12, and so on. So now, again, as we're coming down here, had I done it perfectly? Oh, what do you know? Was I correct? Was 1/4 equivalent to 3/12? Yes, it was. Okay, so as you are finding equivalent fractions, you can, any fraction they give you, whatever you do to the top, you do to the bottom. So not only can you use models, but you can also use multiplication. You can multiply the top number and the bottom number by that same number, right? So for example, I will give you another one. If, let's say they give you 2/3. What if they say, give me an equivalent fraction to 2/3? Well, I'm just going to pick 2 because 2 is easy. I'm going to say times 2/2. I'm going to change that into a times. Times 2/2. I'm going to put my magic 1 around it. Because you're really not changing the fraction. Anything times 1 stays itself. But we're just giving it a new name. So 2 times 2 is, correct, 4. And 3 times 2 is 6. So indeed, 2/3 is equivalent to 4/6. Okay? I just want you guys to be able to, no matter what, draw 1 whole, draw 2 halves, draw 1/3, draw 4ths, draw 8ths, draw 12ths. That way, when they say, give me a fraction that is equivalent, you can draw it and you can use multiplication, okay? All right, please practice for a little while drawing tape bars. Draw a whole, draw 2 halves, draw a lot of tape models for me, and play with it, okay? And if you're not clear, come to office hours today and we'll play with it.